Actually, the concept was propounded by, a doctor known as Dr. Stephen D. Felix. Now, he found out that certain nutrients or food components, apart from providing nutrients that the body requires, they are also able to help or confer on the body preventive measures. They prevent against certain diseases. I will give example. An example is, there is what we call dietary fiber. You find it commonly in grains. Grains are things like our cereals, wheat, sorghum, millets, and the rest of them. Now, that dietary fiber, it is important for the body. The body requires it as a form of nutrient. However, it can also help in preventing disease. One of the diseases it helps in preventing is colon cancer. How? Now, when you ingest or you take food that is high in dietary fiber, your body does not have the ability to digest it. It is insoluble. Now, when it gets into the gastrointestinal, goes into the small intestine, then the large intestine, it is able to act as a we call it prebiotic. All right? It acts as a prebiotic. That prebiotic, it does two things. Number one is that it provides food for certain microorganisms in the intestine. These microorganisms are known as probiotics. Those microorganisms are beneficial for the health. They do a lot of things, but I will not go into all of that today. But I'm particular about the prebiotic. Now, one of the things that food component does is that it helps in building bulk in your system. It provides fiber to your system such that you are not constipated and you easily pass out stools. All right? And that way, your colon, which is your large intestine, do not get stressed when you have to pass out stool. It helps in passing out bulky stool, and that helps in preventing colon cancer. That's one. There are two parts of the diet fiber. There is the soluble, there is insoluble. Now, one of those parts also help in improving the rate at which your body accumulates, or sugar, the system converts starch to sugar. And that way, it helps also in another form to control diabetics, like what she was talking about the other time. All right? That's just nutraceuticals. So, and you find this in foods that are common to us, plant products that are common to us. Many of us are so used to herbals, and that is what our traditional medicine or alternative medicine therapy is all about, because these plants, they contain what we call the bioactive components. These components have the ability to confer preventive measures of protecting the health of individuals. I think I should stop and let somebody else talk. Thank you.
Let me just add to what Professor Omogab just said. How many of us know ginger here? Ginger. Hello? You know ginger? Good. It's a typical example of nutraceutical. If you have a constipation and you don't know what to do, just prepare your tea. Add a 5 ml of your ginger, add to it, drink it. Before you know it, it will flush out your system. You'll be able to go to the toilet. It means the ginger is served as a food, and same time it's served as a medicine that is useful to your body. So whatever is served as a food and medicine is nutraceutical. Is that okay? Thank you.
Thank you, ma. And we also want to add into it. When we talk of nutraceutical, what my senior colleagues have said, we generally look at it as food supplements. But I would like to advise that everyone, especially when you are above 40 years, especially for women, there are some nutrients, there are some things in your body that will not be able to come out the way it is when you are younger. So you will need some extra support, which can be in form of capsule, dietary supplements, which are these nutraceuticals. For example, these nutraceuticals work particularly to prevent or delay aging. So it really helps, especially there are this thing, man, you told me enough time. Sorry, it was there's one particular drug she told me all women.
Okay, well, woman.
I'm not advertising for that company, but I believe that there are some genetic disease that is in your body that you might not even know, but if you really know that your parents has something like that, you can look for a food supplement or a nutraceutical or something, or fruits that helps to reduce the effect of that thing. I actually wanted to add to that. I'll remember as I'm going. Thank you.
So a lot have been said about nutraceuticals, and they're all positive. By any means, are there any side effects or risks associated with taking nutraceuticals? Please throw some light. If you have scientific backings, please do well to tell us.
Yes. Of course, nutraceuticals have, like I said the other time, it's part of their limitations. They have side effects. Even though their side effects can be very mild, but some of them have been reported to have very deleterious side effects. One of the most common side effects of nutraceuticals is that some of them, they cause gastrointestinal disturbances. In some cases, you take some of them and the person starts stooling and all of that. And then some of them have, they cause insomnia, that's sleeplessness, restlessness. Some of them cause terrible headache, migraine. All right? And in some cases, we don't have all that time here to begin to provide evidences, research-based evidences. Some of them have been reported to damage the liver and kidney. And that is why I'm still hammering strongly on the fact that whatever you want to take, please. Now, let me say this. We have a problem in this part of the world. And that problem is that, yes, apart from abusing things, anything, somebody said one time, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it inside a book and close it. Many of us, we are not good at reading. We are very straight-jacketed. We only read what concerns us. And so you hear that somebody was having one kind of headache that resembles the one that you are experiencing. And the person told you he took ginger. And then you go and buy ginger and you start gulping ginger without sitting down first of all and reading what ginger does. Now, I'm going to give I react a lot to things, and so I'm very, very careful with taking things. I'm going to give a very particular example that happened recently. You know, we used to do seminar in my department and all of that. And then each time we are doing seminar, they share soft refreshments. They'll put candies in the plates, and they put bitter cola. And then each time they bring my own, I will just remove my candies, and then I will push the bitter cola off. And one of my younger colleagues said, Prof. Mrs., try this thing. Now, this thing is very good. Oh, it's high in saponin. It's high in this. I said, I know. It's high. Another day again, I said, okay, in my life, I've never taken it. Let me just try it. And I took it. And I just took bites, little 1, 2, 3 bites. I won't lie to you. For 3 days, my chests were heavy and tight. I had serious chest pain and chest. And so the next day he told me, I said, be careful, oh. Don't recommend anything to me again. Be eating your thing. And he was like, what? I said, I don't want. Is it by force? He was now laughing. So, like I said the other time, it's not that it's not safe. And it has been established research-wise that these things have benefits. But please, check out. Before you take anything, open the books and read. So that at the end of the day, thank God for internet. It makes things so easy for us. You don't have to go to a library and look for very big books. Just while you're lying down in your bed, go in and browse, and you will get the side effects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Not only to get the side effects, we must know the dosage of the nutraceutical we are taking in. There is need for us to know the dosage. You know, there was a time my husband was in UK, and I advised him to be taking ginger, garlic, and he started taking it. And before you know it, the blood was going thin. Yes, he now went to the hospital. They checked him. Sir, you are healthy, but your blood is thin. He now said, I know the problem. That is garlic. Let me stop garlic. I will come back 2 weeks. And he started taking ginger. He stopped garlic. He went back, and everything was okay. So if people are telling you about particular nutraceutical, it is good. They are safe. But you must know the dosage that you are taking in. Before, I said earlier that the chemistry of the body of Mr. A might be different from that of Mr. B. You have to understand the chemistry of your body. And one of the effects of this nutraceutical, it can be causing headache, dizziness, kidney problem, just like what she said. But let me tell us this one. I want us to take this one home. First thing you do in the morning, drink water. 2 cups of water. If possible, warm water to wash your toxin away from your body. Then take your fruits. You can take a plate of different fruits combined together. It is healthy. Thank you very much.
I want to also add to this. It seems we are trying to, because I have here in mind, kindly permit me to read this. Nutraceutical can be consumed via food as ingredient with natural high content or substances being enriched in a food matrix. At the same time, nutraceutical can be consumed as normal food. At the same time, the conversion of nutraceutical through the tablets, pills, capsule. So in terms of having it in food supplement, eating it as food, normal food, I don't think there should be any limitation. The food, the vegetable you are eating, when you know that, have we even eaten enough in per day? When you know that you have eaten vegetable, let our food be balanced. That's what I've said the other time. Let our food be our medicine, and our medicine be our food. So if we take this balanced diet regularly, we will hardly visit hospital. That's a scientist said, take an apple per day, and a apple, let it be your part of your meal per day. Watermelon. All these things looks difficult or expensive, but actually in a true sense they should be part of our normal food, and that is the nutraceutical me I'm agitating about. As it's different from the one being converted to capsule, tablet. Those one are prescriptions, and most of the time people just go for it without looking at or doctor will not prescribe it for them. They will just take it. So I think that is the 2 basic different things we are saying here. So let our food be our medicine. Thank you very much.
So that wraps it up on the role of nutraceuticals in the prevention of diseases. Please, audience, if you have questions, you can kindly pass them down to me. We'll read them out. We'll just take 2 questions in the session now. Please raise your hand if you have a question. Dr. Tiamiu, you are recognized. Another question? Thank you, ma. Please come forward and ask your question. Quickly, we're rounding off the session. So one word you must remember is that nutraceuticals are part of the nutrients in your food, and they can also serve as medicine. So in all you're doing, please take moderation. Pay attention to the things that you eat that you are not okay with.
Thank you very much for that lively discussion. I want to ask these questions. When you are discussing, we just want to know the difference between these nutraceuticals and the phyto medicine. There are different terms. Some people use phytobiotics, phytomedicine, herbs, nutraceuticals. These all based on plants. Now, let's just tell us the difference between the 2. That is number 1. Number 2, you are talking of the toxicity of this nutraceutica. You are just saying we should read from internet, we should read from the book. How that one can tell us the toxicity? Do you normally go for toxicity tests in your research work to say, okay, this product that is nutraceutical is toxic so way or that way? Please try to lay more emphasis on that area. Thank you.
Thank you. I have question and contribution. Like Dr. Mrs. was talking about phytomedicine and maybe about medicinal plants.
Then I want to ask that some of these medicinal plants that have traditional claims, and in using them, how do laymen or layman, how do they know the level of damage that some of these medicinal plants can do to the system? Then how do we know either they are synergetic or they are antagonistic? Like we have most of our women or some of our, elderly ones, they just concoct these medicinal plants together, take them, because with the little research I have done, I found out that some of these leaves, they have antagonistic effects, especially on the hematological parameters of the system. When you're taking them to cure something else, it's actually, most of them, when taken in large quantity, they lower the PCV. So you find out that somebody that is being treated for malaria, at the end of the day, will come down with anemia. So how do we get them to know this? Then I want to ask the nutraceutical experts, are nutraceuticals curatives?
Okay, first of all, let me answer. Even though, because of our culture and our tradition, we tend to shift or tilt towards going for traditional medication. But basically, it is not advisable for the local way they do it, like you talked about leaves and all of that. Why? Because their production process has not been standardized. Many of them combine a local, and let me also say, these nutraceuticals or herbal preparations and all of that, they interact with our system, the normal functioning of the system. They also interact with drug. There is what we call drug-to-drug interaction. They interact with drugs, other drugs that we're taking. Sometimes the interaction can be negative or positive. And so, it is advisable, if you must go for nutraceuticals, please go for the ones that have been regulated and prepared under standardized procedures. We have them. Go to the pharmaceutical. There was a time I needed, one of my babies was sick and was stooling, and I went to the pharmaceutical and I said, please, I need, and then they said Flagyl. I said, no. He now said, okay, do you have a probiotic? Probiotic are microorganisms, all right? But now they have been compounded, lyophilized and compounded into pills. And so that is a nutraceutical. Now, that's probiotic. When it's taken, it does a lot of good. So there are some that have been produced under standardized processes and that are safe. It's better to go for those ones. Okay? And there was another thing she asked about. Okay.
I think, no, I will not talk because mostly they are from phytomedicine. But let me say this. I think phytomedicine is the use of plants or plant extract for medicinal purpose. While nutraceutical is gotten from the food, either food, plants, or animal, from natural thing. Then let me say that there is need for you to take this nutraceutical in calculated amount. Permit me to use that word. You must know the dosage of what you are taking. Not because somebody just say you should take it, you are taking it. You must take the percentage. There is particular percentage that you need to take. Like when I produce my bread, we use 80 grams. We not just say it's bread. People are taking bread. You must have a dosage of what you are giving out. And please let us take note of this. This nutraceutical, before we start consuming it, will have undergone some chemical analysis, the preclinical trials, clinical trials. You have tested it separately, just like what the speaker, when the speaker was talking, how the drugs as passed through preclinical, clinical. The same thing applicable to nutraceutical. They have to pass through all these trends, and it must be labeled before you take any nutraceutical. Share the labeling, like this exotic 5 alive now. They are labeling there. The composition, know the people that are made for before you take it. Thank you very much.
Please, I will want to. My own is different. I don't know why. Because it seems I'm different because phytomedicine. When it comes to phytomedicine, what I grew to understood and what I study is that it's safe. But we have a problem in Africa. We tend to accept we tend to accept the foreign language. There is nothing that is not toxic, but why do we assume, we quickly judge when it comes to medicinal plants? How do we know that is that particular plant or food? If nutraceutical is toxic, or you see that you have to take it in the quantity, then let's take it as normal food supplement. Take it as your food. For example, now you see that somebody that is having cancer, I always advise that person, you know, there's something between this nutraceutical and treatment, pharmaceutical. Nutraceutical is especially for prevention, to prevent that disease. So that is why it's been advised taking it daily. But when the disease occur, the antioxidants in nutraceutical will not function as pharmaceutical anymore. So nutraceutical is to prevent that disease. For example, somebody having traces of cancer, you have symptoms of cancer, it's advisable start taking soursop. If you take soursop, all our fruits, they are benefit, they are all seasonal food, they are benefit from God. So that is for our mankind. So we should not quickly judge that why not time research have discovered that is that medicinal or the nutraceutical that have caused it. Then we should take it as our normal food and take it as supplement. As you are buying your normal food, buy your fruits with it. Then you take it as normal food supplements.
Okay, I just remembered, I want to answer one question. She talked about, are they curative? Now, the nutraceuticals are basically meant to prevent. They are preventive. They do not cure. Yes. Another term we use for them is that they manage, they help in managing.
Exactly.
And let me state here and clearly that if you are managing a particular illness, go for your medication.
Not nutraceutical.
Not
anymore.
throwing away your medication and sitting down with the nutraceutical, because that's the problem. Most of us, we find that it's cheaper and we leave our medication. Please, the medications that have been prescribed, go with them, and also contact your health consultant or professional to find out if you can combine it with any other nutraceutical you are using. Thank you very much. Please, okay.
Sorry for taking our time. Then this question from Dr. Tiamiyu, that what is the difference between nutraceutical, phytomedicine? You know, when we talk of herbal medicine, we are talking of using plant parts or all plants to address a particular disease. So when we are talking of what dosage or something, herbals use the whole plant part. But when we are talking of nutraceutical or something, the isolating active ingredients are the one being extracted from that plant. So what happens now is that the way our forefathers take those plant nutrients actively into our body without being isolating one or the other. But when it comes to this pharmaceutical or nutraceutical, it's been isolated for the active ingredient that is supposed to be synergizing it for the side effect not to come up has been dropped. So that is I will preach this way that we should take our drugs the way our herbal medicine rather, the way our forefathers have been taking it. Because as we are saying that there are side effects, we are forgetting that there are active ingredients that have been dropped from what they have been taking before. So there will be reoccurrence of side effects.
So thank you so much. That's
Let me say this, man, before you go. With some medication, take adequate balanced diet. Thank you very much.
Okay. Then your lifestyle.
Thank you so much, facilitators. They have lots to talk about. But I'll just help the first person ask the question about phytomedicines and nutraceuticals. This is not about phytomedicines, however, it's phytomedicines have to do with using roots, stems, flowers, seeds, the way they are crude as medicine, and they have different procedures through which you extract them for that use. But this is nutraceuticals. It's about your food. It's about the nutrients that you take into your body and how they can be preventive. And yes, of course, there are toxicity procedures that we do before we come up with dosages, before we come up with side effects, and then all of that. So if you have many more questions, you can please meet these beautiful ladies outside, or you can bring the questions to me. I'll read it to the person who can answer it, and I'm sure answers and reward for coming for our event. Ladies and gentlemen, please clap for them as they go to their seats. So while was going on, a question came up for our last plenary speaker, Professor Temitope Olomola, and the person says, "Sir, in all you said about drugs, from synthesis to metabolism, what have you done, or what recognized for research in drug toxicology? Because they are worst of scenario we have in modern disease." Maybe I think the person is trying to say, from what that you have said about drug, from synthesis to metabolism, what do you advocate or what do you advise when it comes to drug toxicology? Because we have a lot of drugs. So if we are doing precision medicine for one individual on the globe, how are we going to, what do you advise? Is that your question? Does that reflect your question? What does he advise that do about drug toxicologists in terms of drug precision, seeing that we have a vast population? How do we cover up? Is that not what you're asking? So, sir, please kindly answer.
Okay. The truth is, toxicology is a major area when we look at development of any drug. The drug might be effective, but if it is not able to selectively attack the area that we are trying to treat, then it's a problem. Toxicology itself, yes, leans more on the biology angle of the scientific process. I'm sure we figured that it's a full multidisciplinary program trying to develop any drug. Okay, so the reality is we synthesize compounds and then have them checked. In some cases, you might be able to, because as computational power increases, as we have artificial intelligence, we can predict, in some cases to a high degree of accuracy, even the level of toxicity associated with a particular compound or drug. But ultimately, the reality is that for anything to make it through the drug trial process, it must be tested, both using computational techniques in animals and then of course in man. So if I understand the angle from which the question is coming, is what can we do in terms of the fact that, okay, many things are toxic, or many compounds in quote are toxic. Well, the truth is we don't need to have 10,000 drugs actually. If we have a few that make it through, but they are effective, then it is fine. However, for individual peculiarities, then there is need to better understand the history of the person involved, the genetic makeup as well. Now, remember that there are also developments on the biology interface. So, biologically, they can look at a person's makeup or understands a person's, the whole thing about gene editing is, they are understanding better the whole concept of the genes, the chromosomes and all that. So it's not only a chemistry matter, it actually has to be multidisciplinary. So it has to be taken from both sides, as well as, of course, clinical science itself, to address the issue. So basically, my feeling is that by using the multidisciplinary approach, it is possible to have what we refer to as, selective treatment for cases.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so now moving on, we're going to have our